There's no worse feeling than feeling alone in a room full of people or in a crowd. We all know that saying, or we have experienced that situation in the past, or we are currently experiencing it with people around us. With over 7 billion people on this earth, it rationally shouldn't make sense to feel alone, feeling like we don't belong, feeling ostracized, yet it is a feeling experienced by many more often than we can imagine. When we're going through something hard and challenging, we often think that we are the only one, asking ourselves, why is this happening to me? When we used to think quite different than the norm and it becomes harder and harder to connect with the people around us, we're wondering, where are my people? Why am I always all alone, misunderstood, on the outskirts of meaningful relationships? All of these are valid questions, valid worries, valid feelings. Nonetheless, they don't have to be a truth. Your reality can look different. Today, I want to remind you that you are not alone and you don't have to do it all alone. So listen up to this jam. If you want to let go of past pain, transcend your traumas, expand your consciousness, and reclaim your power to finally be the main character of your own conscious reality, as well as learning about conscious living, you're at the right place. Welcome to Conscious Matters. It's a safe space where we chat about conscious matters, focus on self-empowerment, awareness, holistic wellness, and sustainability. Join me, Melissa DiVieri, for inspiring conversations with myself and some of the most beautiful souls out there. We expand on our experiences and share what we've learned along our healing journey to live in peace, harmony, and mindfulness on a daily basis. Oh, and share with loved ones, and don't forget to take 5 little seconds to review this podcast by just leaving a few stars and kind words. That would really help with the algorithm so we can spread the message to help more people live consciously. Get your mind, body, and soul ready for a ride in consciousness. Namaste, listeners. Let's be honest, Western society really functions around individualism. It's not that it's good or it's bad, it's just the way that it is. And with that individualism motto in the way that we approach relationships, in the way that we approach work and success and all of things that give our lives a meaning, we have developed hyper independence. And not to blame society, but I think it's so important to be aware of our conditioning as well, because may we like it or not, we also are the result of our environment until we realize that and are self-aware enough to pick and choose what do we keep, what do we release from our conditioning. So yes, in our Western environment, in our Western culture, independence has been at the forefront for so long. For men, of course, I think it goes without saying, but more particularly for women with the I can do it all attitude. And I think it goes both ways for different reasons, but for men and women, many of us were raised either in our household or at school or the people that were around us with the idea that I can do it all alone, and not being able or feeling like you can ask for help or lean onto other people kind of created this hyper independence. So it started as I'm capable, I can be independent, like all of the girl boss movement, so on and so forth. But that's a whole other conversation, to now becoming so hyper independent that it leads also to isolation. And when you don't feel like you can ask for help, you cannot share your issues, you cannot share your burdens, and that you have to figure out everything by yourself, it takes a big toll on your mental health. It takes a lot of mental space. And also, another part of your ego develops, but not like as ego as we usually think, like, I'm the best and you're the worst, blah, blah, blah. But more like, I cannot count on anyone. Or if I want it to be done right, I have to do it myself. Or if I go through that experience, I'm probably the only one going through that. So it's a kind of a self-focus. I'm all about self and self-improvement and self-development, but there's also limitation with everything. Even a good thing, when you push it too much or too far, it becomes a negative thing. Just like water. Water is great, is amazing, is wonderful. But if you drink too much water at once too quick, you will get yourself sick. So it's the same with self-development and self-improvement, everything around self. So I'm saying that because when you tend to put the mirror only on yourself, which I believe is necessary in your journey. But carrying that for too long, you tend to not see the bigger picture at times and also not see your blind spots. And that's why it's so important to realize that we are part of a collective. We are not alone. And introducing other people in our self-development journey is incredibly important. I'll develop afterwards a little bit more why. But let me just touch base on another obstacle that leave us thinking that we are alone in our situation. We're alone in our obstacles, in our challenges, in our issues. So yes, one, hyper independence. I do believe that is part of it when we take independence way too far and it becomes hyper, which eventually becomes a hindrance to your growth. But the other thing I believe is trust issues from old trauma. Now we don't trust others to help us get through whatever obstacles we're going through that we need to overcome. So as usual with trauma, it's yes, a lot of work by itself, but self-awareness, again, is the catalyst of it all. Because when you know why you feel like you cannot lean on people, why you cannot share your worries, your burdens with others, why you cannot reach out to get some help, it stems from somewhere. And because of that, you need to dig inside yourself and you need to understand, I believe, why you don't trust. What happened to me that makes me feel like that? And if you know what happened to you, maybe it's time to ask yourself, how did I change since then that now I will not be in the same situation? Now I have boundaries. Now I have discernment. Now I have trust in myself. So I know that if I ask for help again, or if I share something personal by myself, it won't be the same outcome. But for that, you need to know where your trust issues stem from. You need to be able to self-reflect and ask yourself the right questions and trust yourself enough to not be afraid, or maybe be afraid, but still doing it anyway, of jumping into the similar situation of the past, hoping that now you have the necessary tools to not have the same deceptive and disappointing outcome that you had in the past. So yes, hyper independence, trust issues from all trauma, but also the story that we tell ourselves. Because if we keep on repeating to ourselves, I'm too different, I'm a misfit, people don't understand me, I'm all alone, I cannot count on anyone, it's always better done when I do it myself, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy at some point. Because yes, I think there is like some reality to it. When you're different, of course, different than the norm, obviously it's going to be harder to connect with as many people as people who fit, quote unquote, the norm. But do you want quantity or do you want quality? It's not because you cannot connect with as many people as others that it means that you are all alone. You have at least one person in your life that you're connected to. And it doesn't even have to be in the same city, in the same country. It doesn't even have to be in the physical. It can be online. So yeah, I would say be careful with the story you tell ourselves. And I would even say the story we tell ourselves, because I'm a part of it. I'm a part of it, and I always have to catch myself and see what is actually true. What is maybe the story from the past that I keep on carrying in the present, when is actually different circumstances, different people, a different mindset of mine. So your thoughts going to create a certain emotion, and that emotion will create a certain behavior, and that behavior will become a habit. So if you get the habit of telling stories that are hindering your growth or not helping you to overcome your self-limiting beliefs, you will stay stuck in the same scenario for the rest of your life. And yes, then if you keep on telling yourself, I am all alone, you will end up all alone, or you will always feel alone, even in the crowd of people. And just to repeat a little bit of what I was saying, like thoughts create emotions. Another extremely important component that we have to remember is exploring the impermanent nature of emotions, including loneliness. Sometimes we might feel a certain way at a certain moment. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the same permanent situation for the rest of your life. Just to piggyback on the previous episode, sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes it's just an emotional feeling that you have to lean into, feel the feelings, and then move on from it. The only constant in life is change. So when we remind ourselves of that, we are also reminded that our feelings and emotions, as real as they might feel in the moment, sometimes, not all of the time, but sometimes it's just in the spur of the moment that we feel like that. And the more that you practice mindfulness, being aware, being in the present moment, to have these mindfulness practices of mindful movement, mindful thinking, mindful eating, all of that, that always bring you back into the present moment, you will more easily recognize that feelings surrounding loneliness, or even the feeling itself of loneliness, are temporary and are a part of the ebb and flow of life. Don't lose your opportunity for growth and transformation by connecting with other people, by creating a community of your own, or just fostering connections by getting out of your comfort zone. The more that I connect with others, it doesn't have to be deep relationships right away, but just, I don't know, having a talk with your neighbor, or at the bakery, or wherever you do your groceries, or just volunteering and talking with other people. For me, in my work of podcasting as well, interviewing other people from other walks of life, the more that I talk to people, the more I realize there are more people dealing with similar things than you think. And the funniest thing is that in all of these people, a majority think that they are all alone in their hurdles. When you're on the other side and talking with all of these people, you realize so many similar patterns, so much trauma that is certainly a different kind of story and life experience, but the trauma and the result is similar in so many other people. So I guess all I want to say is keep on being dedicated to your self-work, to your inner work, to your self-improvement, to your self-development, to your self-love, to your self-care, to really root yourself into your self-worth. But don't forget that you're part of a collective. Don't forget that it's not you and yourself. If you extend your arm, if you keep your mind and your heart open, but use that discernment that you managed to foster through all of that inner work by yourself, and have all of your boundaries up, not your walls, but your boundaries up, combined with your discernment, your journey of life might be so much more full of ease and joy, I would say, because we don't realize how important sometimes it is to get the perspective of someone who's not in your shoes, but has been in your shoes, or actually is very far from your situation, very estranged from what you're going through. But having different people's perspective really helps you getting out of your own head, especially if you're not a thinker. That really helps. Yeah, and really help you get out of your rut. I mean, we are humans. We are meant to be with people around us. We are meant to be connected, to feel supported, to feel like we belong. Essential needs for us as humans. So when we don't have that, when we lean into hyper independence, when we lean into deep trust issues, we cannot find that real connection. And then it means that we're depriving ourselves from a basic human need. And we owe it to ourselves, especially after that much self-work, to be able to have ease and joy in our life through connections as well, through support, through feeling like we matter to others, but we also have a positive impact on their lives and they have a positive impact on our lives, to feel like there is a constant exchange back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So don't forget that you are surrounded by amazing people. It might take time to meet them. Trust me, I know. I've been through that. And to some extent, I guess I'm still am, but like it's shifting for me. And I'm realizing there's so many incredible souls out there, so many beautiful, kind people who just want to share. And funnily enough, that feel that they are all alone as well. So the more that we open up, that we dare to be vulnerable, that we're brave enough to be vulnerable, the more we'll be able to connect with other people from a heart space in a genuine way. And that's possible. That's possible. It might take time. Be patient with yourself. Don't rush yourself, but know that either in the physical or online, there are still wonderful people out there who will be so honored to listen to your story, to support you in your journey, and to lend you a hand from time to time. And hopefully you will do the same with them. You have the Conscious Matters community to do that. but just reach out, open your eyes. And I repeat, so important, open yourself, but keep that discernment sharp and your boundaries up. And then just let go of control and observe and see the change in you and in your life. That's all. Okay, that's all I have to say. I hope it's uplifting for your spirit a little bit and that it will trigger you to take action to reach out to people. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you to have taken the time to listen to me talking about conscious living. Conscious Matters is a self-produced podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, leave a review, and or donate. Your support will help to keep on raising the collective consciousness together. Take care and talk to you soon.